Building a Caddy from scratch is sponsored by Holy, but I'll tell you a bit more later on. This is what's coming up in this video. Golf R rear calipers, but we've hit a major snag. I've bolted up the Golf R subframe. That doesn't fit. Yo boys, welcome back to the biggest build on YouTube. I'm building Caddy R from scratch. And in the last episode, I began to strip this bad boy and I got the dash partially fitted, a lot of the wiring, and we saw first life. It's got its first Golf R DNA. Well, in this episode, we're getting techie with it. We've got tons of fab work to do, and I'm not wasting any more time. Let me show you all the work that I've got to do here. This is the Mark 7 fuse box and engine ECU right here. I've got it hanging, and that's because I've ran the engine loom through the bulkhead, and that's how I got it all to work in the last episode. However, because this is an old Caddy, it's got a slightly different design. So in preparation for fitting the engine, I want to replace the existing engine mounts with the Golf R engine mounts. And if you look here, this is the base where the normal engine mount will sit for the Caddy, but they've gone for a slightly different design on the Golf R. If you see these little plates here, they're built in to the frame of the car, whereas on the Golf R, they've got it built in to the actual mount. So as you can see, we've got a tiny little problem. It's not sitting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut them off and try to fab up this area because I want this to sit exactly where it needs to. And I think I'm gonna have to re-drill these holes as well. But I know I needed to do quite a lot of fab work on this build. So I went out to Lidl's of all places and I picked up this little Parkside plasma cutter. I can't wait to test this out properly. I did test it out before, it does work really well. So let's get this hooked up. We're gonna start to cut and try to fab up those new engine mounts and get it into place. Guys, hold on. I need to tell you about today's sponsors. This entire build series is sponsored by Holy Energy. Now, as you can see, there's tons of work building a Caddy R from scratch. And to get the energy that I need, I turn to Holy. But it's not because of the massive servings you get for the price. It's not because of all the amazing flavors. It's not even because it tastes good. It's actually because I want to be here for my little ones' upbringing. And I used to be chugging away on some of the major brands of energy drinks when I'm in the garage, pre-workout before the gym, just to get that little bit of a boost. Did you know that excessive consumptions of energy drinks can lead or contribute to heart attacks or heart failure? I'm not even just saying it, that's something that's very important to me. I want to be here for my kids, and if you want to be here for your kids, trust me, check out Holy. It's a cleaner, healthier way to get the energy and the boost that you need to complete major builds like this one, or whatever it is that you're up to during your day-to-day life. So if you're like me and you care about your health and you want to get a more cleaner way to become energized, it's down there. Click it, use the discount code and try out Holy. Don't take my word for it, try it out, taste it, see how it makes you feel, and just like me, you'll be turning the corner and you'll be getting energized the Holy way. For all of that said, let's continue with the build. Yeah, buddy. So guys, now that I've notched these two little bits off, as you can see, the engine mount is going in, but there's still plenty of room for adjustment, which I'm happy about. So I'm going to use the battery box, which has got a few fixed points. So if I put that in place, the battery box is meant to bolt in just to the bottom here. 1 and 2. I know these 2 points have come straight off the Golf, they've not moved, and then I can go ahead and just line everything up where it needs to go. All right, boys, after a little bit of fabbing, the passenger side engine mount has been fitted. That's nice and solid. What I want to move on to now is on the Caddy. This is the earthing point for the Caddy, as you can see, but on the Golf, it's got this bad boy here, I want to utilize the battery voltage meter, and I'm doing it exactly as it is on the Golf R. And on the Golf R, there's a little point right on the bulkhead here where that bolts in. So what I plan to do is cut that off, and then I can weld it into place. I just need to situate all this wiring, find a nice suitable spot, and I'll be transferring this point from here to over there. So that's the next point. I want to make this bit look a little bit cleaner. So in goes the wiring from the Golf. I'm routing this along the chassis rail just as it was on the R, and once that's fitted, I can relocate the ECU and fuse box. Once I found a sweet spot and everything was seated correctly, I'm adding some riv nuts which will allow me to secure all the new components into place. Next up, I'm relocating the earth point so it matches the configuration on the Golf. Yeah. Good. Relax, of course, man. Good. Hey. Nice one. So finally, after the last weld, this is what we're left with. Alright boys, so I've gone ahead, I fabbed in everything to get all of these bits in the car basically. So we've got the fuse box, nice and solid. engine ECU, exactly where it was on the Golf R. This is the battery tray, that's fitted, battery's fitted, and I relocated the earthing point, grounded it all off, and everything is connected. So I'm happy with this corner. These wires are where they're meant to be. Earth, these wires are where they're meant to be. So I'm happy with that. A little bit of fab work, but it's all sorted. What I want to do now is get the subframe back on, and I'll have this Caddy rolling again so I can take it out, and then we're going to be stripping the rest of the interior.
So in true Salvage Nation fashion, I went ahead and I bolted up, or tried to bolt up, the Golf R subframe. As you can see, all the mounting points are completely way out. At the planning stages of this build, I thought it was going to be a straight swap. It did look like everything should align, however, in practicality, it didn't, which puts the entire build in jeopardy because I need to figure it out. If I can't figure this out, I can't run the correct components to build an actual Caddy R from scratch.
Alright, you guys, so we've been making good progress thus far. I've done a lot of fabrication to get a lot of those other components fitted into place, but we've hit a major snag. Now I know that building the first ever Caddy R complete from scratch was going to be hard work, and I expected stuff like this, but this is quite major. So right here is the Caddy subframe and front end suspension assembly, and on the van I've bolted up the Golf R subframe. That doesn't fit. The two front poles fits fine, but the rear is completely out of whack. It doesn't fit. Now, I bet you're wondering, why do you need to choose that? Why don't you just put the Caddy subframe back on? The Golf R steering rack doesn't fit the Caddy. You should be seeing some shots. It's slightly out. It's literally like 1/4 of an inch out either side. And I need to fit the Golf R steering rack so that it tallies back up with the ABS pump and all the other Golf R components. So I need to fabricate a way to get this Golf R steering rack to fit the Caddy, and I need to make sure it's 100% accurate because it's the steering of the van, and that's very important. So yeah, first major setback, but it means a lot more work for me, a lot more content for you. So I'm gonna have a little think, and I'm gonna see what I can come up with. So let me know what you would do.
So I came up with a plan, I went out, I purchased a ton of tools, and here I am putting it into action. Will it work? Let's see together. I've removed the support sleeves for the original mounting points on the Caddy subframe. My plan is to relocate these by taking measurements from the Golf R subframe and matching these exact measurements on the Caddy subframe. If I can do this and execute it correctly, we should be good to go.
So guys, I've got a friend. He always used to say to me, anytime I'm struggling, D, what you doing? Nothing beats a fail but a try. And that's what I did. And I tried, and I think I'm successful. You've seen what I've done. I went out, I got the tools, I cut those locating sleeves out. The threads are actually located in the steering rack. The bolt goes from the bottom. Those bits that I cut out just add a lot of support. Once the bolt goes in the bottom of the subframe, locks into that steering rack, this bad boy ain't going nowhere. And that is a major bit of fab work that I've managed to do. Guys, I'm figuring this out as we go ahead, and I'm sure there's gonna be tons more fabbing that's needed to build a Caddy R from scratch. But I hope you're enjoying it. And for now, I'm gonna stop talking. I wanna offer this up to the van, get the van on all fours again, and then we're gonna get it out, and then we can clean up all of this mess because I've been on this portion of this build for too long. Yeah. Press like, subscribe, you know the vibes.
Once I was happy with the fitment of the steering rack, I went ahead and fully welded in those support sleeves, and I'm adding plates to both the bottom and the top for added structure stability. Now boys, these welds, they don't need to look pretty, however, they need to be solid. So I've turned up the settings and I'm really going for it now. And there you have it. We had a major problem, we kept it moving, and we found a solution.
So boys, the other morning I woke up, checked Facebook Marketplace. I found these set of Caddy coilovers and a rear axle beam flip kit, 100 quid, went down, got them. My guy Callum there, he came down, picked them up, and we've got them here now. I chose to get these used ones because once I do the all-wheel drive conversion, then I'll be fitting a Golf R setup. But for now, this is gonna be perfect for what I need. I just wanna get the car running, and yeah, at 100 quid, I thought why not? So let's go ahead, get these on the van. To separate the hub from the strut, there's something called a splitter tool. Callum just said, yo D, have you got a splitter tool? I actually made one. Look at that. Made that bad boy just from an old bolt, sand it down, gets it flat, it goes in like so. Come on, Callum. Happy days. Look at that. Yeah, you just leave it.
That's pretty good to be fair.
Look, works like a treat. I learned that from DTE TV. I don't even know the guy, but I watched so many Caddy videos of his. I learned to make one of them from DTE TV. All good. Yeah, it's coming. So out with the old, in with the Caddy old. That's it.
She's in.
Yeah. Right, I'll do that to both sides and get them on the car. Right, boys, have a look at that. Coilies have been fitted to the front of the Caddy, but you know what's been fitted? Have a look at them. Giant brakes, woo! These are the Golf R disc, calipers, and hub, which is sitting on the Caddy wishbones and those coilies. So now that they're fitted, we're gonna move on to the rear, flip the rear axle so that it sits nice and low, get the BBSs back on this thing, and we're gonna roll it out for the first time and see what it looks like.
Now the front axle was super easy to sort out, but the rear axle, boy, complete different story. All the bolts are completely rusted, and yeah, it was just given, things were a bit tough. However, my boy Callum was there to give me a hand, and this is how we got on. rear axle flip kit has been fitted, and this thing is going to transform the stance of the Caddy.
I fitted all the alarm, speakers, everything. So everything on that side of things is functional. However, when I tried to fit this is the steering column. Without this, I have no steering. It's literally just a bit too short.
Few inches later.
Look at that. Steering column is connected up to the steering rack. And all I had to do was, there are two little mounting points down there. I removed them. I made the holes a little bit bigger to allow for some adjustment. Pushed it all the way back, just enough to get it on. We got steering wheel's all working now. So I can go ahead and continue with this build.
So now we've got the Caddy as a roller again. I wanted to test the steering, that's all good. So now it's time to mount up the Golf R ABS pump. The mounting bracket is slightly different between the two vehicles, so I'm just swapping it over from the Caddy, and I need to drill new holes to get this to work with the Golf R ABS pump. Now all I need to do is secure the brake lines, and I'm also fitting a few other miscellaneous components from the Golf R in the engine bay. I'm fitting the Caddy wiper assembly, but it's very important here I had to swap over the Golf R motor to fit into this assembly to get it all to work. Next, I need to fabricate an earth point for the steering rack. I'm matching the configuration from the Golf R, as the negative wire is a lot shorter from the power steering rack, and this is the exact spot where it earths to on the Golf R.
So with that new earth point in, once that cools down, all I need to do is go like so, screw it on, and that's the new earthing point right there for the power steering rack. Alrighty boys, so I'm just back from my local parts store. I got these two little connectors made up. They're gonna allow me to join the front Golf R brake lines to the rest of the Caddy brake lines. Once they're installed, I'll go to the rear as well. I will be swapping over the rear calipers. I'm told they should bolt up, so we're gonna find out in a few minutes, but I'm gonna swap them over to the Golf R rear calipers because they've got the electronic part brake.
So before fitting the brakes, I need to tear down this rear end. We're getting rid of the Caddy exhaust, the Caddy fuel tank, and obviously the Caddy brake calipers. When I tried to remove the Golf R calipers, I realized they were locked into place. So I came up with a quick rig to provide 12 volts of charge to get them to operate and release.
Boys, look at all of that. I've made a big old mess, but I promise you there's method to the madness. These are the Caddy rear calipers. Off with those. And here's confirmation that Golf R rear calipers actually just bolt up to the rear axle beam on a Caddy. Perfect match. Just literally remove the bolts, put them on, bolt them up. All I need to do is run the wire in, plug them in, and I should have electronic rear parking brakes. I also went ahead and I connected the oil line, so I should have full brakes on both the front and the rear ends.
So with the brakes sorted, I'm running the fuel lines from the Golf R. I've already removed the diesel fuel lines, and as you can see, they're being replaced with the fuel lines for the petrol Golf R. So there we have it, the fuel lines have been fitted, the brake calipers have been fitted, and that means in this episode, we have sorted the suspension, the braking, fueling, and we've got the Caddy rolling. I went ahead and I completed all the prep for the engine bay, and that means we are finally ready to fit the 2 litre Golf R TSI engine.
So boys, that's it for episode 2 on the Building a Caddy from Scratch series. We managed to get so much done in this episode, and I'm excited because in the next episode, I am fitting my 2-litre TSI Golf R engine into this bad boy, and we're aiming for a first start, and if we're lucky, we will get a first drive. But you have to be here to see how we get on with that video, and the best way to do it is to press the subscribe button right now. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, make sure your bells are on so you know exactly when I'm gonna drop it. I'm not even gonna tell you when I'm dropping it. You have to wait for the notification. So like I always say, keep it moving, and I'll see you in the next one. And here's a little preview of what's coming up in the next episode. 10 PSI of pressure.